That's what concerns me. This kid has elite skills, but it is not an elite quarterback.
He has an arrogant arm that he thinks he can make any throw.
So the Green Bay Packers honestly may be one of the most disrespected teams in the NFL right now, and a lot of that disrespect stems from Jordan Love. While yes, it has to be said, 2024 was a bit of a down year compared to 2023, Jordan Love still has the full capability to be a top 10 quarterback in the league. He's never had a big problem with turnovers. He's had close to a 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio through his early NFL career. And in terms of the Packers as a whole, they have an above average roster, a good coaching staff. There just is no reason to be disrespecting this team. Jordan Love was not healthy last season. He's going to be back and ready to go this year. It seems like nobody fully understands what the Packers did this offseason and how they are going to bounce back and have a great year. But that's okay, because that's why I'm making this video. And I don't do this for every team out there. I know a lot of my videos are positive throughout the league. I'm just an optimistic person, but I don't go around calling every team a potential contender or even playoff team. But the Packers at full health actually are one, because not every team can make plays like this.
Goal, Love, and leaping catch, pickup. Love, 372 through the air. Look out, Van Ginkel to the end zone, caught, touchdown!
Alright, before I get into everything in this video, I would really appreciate it if you would drop a like and subscribe. It only takes 5 seconds, plus you can always change your mind, and with your support, I believe that we can get there super fast. Alright, so the Green Bay Packers projected win total for the 2025-26 season is 9.5 wins. They do have a pretty tough schedule, which makes the prediction somewhat reasonable, but still, if I were a bettor, I would definitely hit the over, because early in the season, there are some very winnable games that the Packers could use to create momentum, and in professional sports, momentum is everything. If Jordan Love could get himself in a rhythm, and this team could win some games, and potentially start out the year 4-2, that could give this team the belief they need to win some of those big games against the AFC North. One of the biggest additions of the offseason to me came in the draft, when the Packers selected Matthew Golden, the receiver from Texas. This is a guy with elite speed, running just under a 4.3 40. He definitely has burst acceleration and the ability to shift gears rapidly, which makes him a vertical threat, and he's a crisp route runner. He's going to add so much to this offense, and the great thing is that he's not even going to have to be the #1 option yet. And let's take a look at some of the things the Packers were able to do last year without Golden and with an injured Jordan Love, who just never found much rhythm despite what the record says. So this play right here against the Seattle Seahawks starts with the Packers in the red zone. This was after 2 straight handoffs, so the defense probably knew play action was coming, and once it did, Jordan Love rolled to the left, and this was fantastic blocking by number 89 Ben Sims and 85 Tucker Kraft, both guys who are once again on the team. And even with the Seahawks leaving a spy behind the line of scrimmage in the middle of the field, Love read this defense like a book. And if he wasn't injured and had a better burst, he may have even made it into the end zone, but if you start Matthew Golden into this play, he may have been able to burn the corner, which Watson was not able to do. But even if not, he's another player that the secondary would have had to keep their eye on, and even if that created another 1/4 of a second of space for Love, that would have turned this play into a touchdown. The next play from last year that has me super excited for the upcoming season is this one, because Matthew Golden can make plays like this all day long. And this play has to fire you up as a Packers fan, because you love to see Dobbs fighting for those extra yards to get into the end zone, but for as much as Golden is a vertical threat, he can burn defenses on those quick hitters because of his speed as well. The Packers receiving unit overall is not the fastest. Golden actually now is the only guy in it with a sub 4.3 40-yard dash time, which is why I think he was such a big addition and why the Packers scouting team did a great job snagging him when they did. Obviously, he's not perfect. There are some aspects of his game that is very raw, but that's to be expected with every rookie receiver. But for where he was drafted at towards the end of the first round, I think the Packers got great value by selecting him. Anyways, moving on, now let's talk about the run game, because in 2024, the Packers actually utilized their backs a lot. I was just rewatching some footage from last season, and I guess I truly did not realize how much the Packers ran the football. I think that was partly due to Jordan Love not being fully healthy, and they wanted to take some of the pressure off his shoulders. Josh Jacobs ended the year with over 1,300 yards. He was kind of a revelation for this offense. He had 4.4 yards per carry, 15 touchdowns, and again, if Adam Stenavich can figure out how to balance out this offense to keep defenses and opposing secondaries on their heels, this offense is going to thrive with Love being fully healthy. I fully expect for him to be back to around 4,000 yards or more. Getting back to Jordan Love though, and the disrespect, let's go back to 2023 and see where he stacked up with the rest of the league. He threw for 4,159 passing yards with 32 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. He looked like he was well on his way to being one of the faces of the league and definitely the long-term face of the franchise. It really seemed like drafting him and having him sit behind Rodgers before he moved on was a genius move, and I still think it was, even with the down year in 24. He finished the year ranked 7th in passing yards, 2nd in touchdowns. He was middle of the pack with interceptions, so not really a big turnover problem at all. And then he had a 96.1 passer rating, which was 9th in the league. But the bigger thing with his statistical success was the team success. Somehow, with a 9-8 record, the Packers snuck into the playoffs, and in the wild card round, they put an absolute beatdown on the Dallas Cowboys in stunning fashion. In a game that made all the memes and jokes come out about the Dallas Cowboys, they snatched their souls away. And after this win, everyone thought the Packers were the team of the future. They had their new QB of the future. They had up-and-coming skill position players. This was a team that was building something special. But then 2024 happened, and even though record-wise the team improved, which is what you want to see, there was just something missing, and I think a lot of that was in fact because Jordan Love was not fully healthy. I mean, an 11-6 season is pretty solid no matter how you put it for any team, for any franchise, but there were things that needed to be addressed over this offseason, and I think the Packers did more than just address them. Obviously, they drafted Matthew Golden, who I talked about, but one of the biggest moves was signing Aaron Banks, a guard, to a 4-year, $77 million deal. He's expected to solidify the interior, and then Nate Hobbs was brought in on a 4-year, $48 million deal to help with the secondary. The Packers also brought in McCole Hardman, a guy who made himself famous with the Chiefs. I don't think he will see a lot of playing time in 2025, but he's still a depth piece. And then they signed Isaiah Simmons as well. I really thought he was going to have a better career than he has had, but hey, it happens. Some guys just can't translate college success to the NFL, and he has not been able to really do so yet in his young career. But hey, things can change on a dime, especially in a new environment, so signing him was a why not move. Also, Matthew Golden was obviously not the only pick the Packers made in the draft. They took Anthony Belton for the O-line, Savion Williams out of TCU, a move that made everyone have to wipe their glasses to double check if they were seeing things right. The Packers never draft 2 receivers the same year, usually they don't even draft 1, and then behind that, there were a few other guys that could see the field at some point if they show developmental progress. So overall, I think the 2025-26 season for the Packers lies on the shoulders of Jordan Love and his health, and if he can bounce back. But the run game is there, the explosiveness at receiver is there. This is a team that has the roster to be a contender, but obviously a lot of things have to come together, and with how tough the schedule is, they have to get off to a very strong start, 4-2 at the very least. But I'm curious to hear what you guys are thinking and what your predictions are for 2024. Thank you all so much if you made it to this point in the video, and if you enjoyed and haven't yet, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe, and let me know what you would like to see next. And until then, I will see you all later.